Silent Hill Shattered Memories is a reimagining of the original Silent Hill on the Wii. It was really a no-brainer to put it on the Wii because the features are already there that make sense. You have your Wii remote, it's pretty much a flashlight already, and then you have a speaker in that Wii remote, which lets you do the trademark Silent Hill radio static. So the choice to put it on Wii made a lot of sense, and we wanted to have a real Silent Hill title. It's not watered down, it's not a rail shooter.
The attitude of reimagining Silent Hill 1 rather than just coming up with a new title. It's all about kind of drawing a line in the sand and saying that we are kind of revisiting the original psychological horror game. We are thinking how we can reinvent the entire genre for a modern audience using the Wii hardware. So we're returning to kind of some of the ideas in that original game, but we're able to do new and interesting things with them that couldn't be done on the original hardware. Well, I think the thing that people are going to see straight off that's really cool about the game is just the flashlight. It's the kind of thing that people imagined when they first got hold of the Wii, and to date no game has actually delivered on this. But the minute you pick up the controls in the game, the level of immersion, the level of connection you feel with your game character is much heightened over conventional survival horror games. So already the kind of way you experience exploration feels very different to other games.
Something else we've done is we have something called the psych profile. Traditionally in Silent Hill, things you see are based on the main character's psychology, his personality, something from his past. So what we've done in Shattered Memories is the game itself is watching you, the player. The choices you make, how you proceed through the game, that's going to change what you see and alter the game accordingly. So we've really taken something that in past Silent Hill games was a story element, and we've made it new and more frightening. One of our goals is really, in traditional survival horror games, there's that element of it's a barrier between you and the game. And it's hard to keep you immersed and scared if you feel like you're playing a video game. So we really wanted to get rid of all those gamey or HUD elements and focus on getting you into the game world, reaching directly into it.
I think one of the things that players will see when they play the game is how much they take for granted some of this stuff. You won't immediately play the game and go, wow, they've removed all the interface and all the HUD elements. But you'll just suddenly have this moment of realization that, hey, I'm deeply immersed in this game. There's nothing dragging me out of it. So if you look at the cell phone, this is our way of taking all those elements that kick you out of the game, kind of remind yourself you're playing a game. Especially in a horror game, the ability to go to screens that pause the action and take you out of the horrifying situation really kind of kills the mood. Whereas in this game, the cell phone, when you pull the cell phone out, the Wiimote becomes your cell phone, but the rest of the game is still running. You can still move the character around whilst you're using the cell phone. And this enables you to use it as a sat navigation map, to use it as a cell phone camera, do all sorts of funky things with it. You know, if you're receiving story information in the game via a voicemail, via text, or via a phone call, you're now doing this while still exploring the environment. You're not picking up a note page and then going to a separate screen and reading a bit of text. It's not like someone shoved a short story into the middle of your horror game. You know, you're walking through the town and you're listening to this stuff and this context, and it's just so much more immersive.
And another thing, instead of reading text when I walk through the environment, I hit A on a table, and he says, oh, there's a candle on the table. If I see a candle I want to look at, I just zoom in and look at the candle. And if the main character has a thought on the candle, he'll just say it. So again, we're removing that element where you think, oh, I'm reading text in a game, and we just make it happen naturally. The first thing fans will be happy to know, and they always want to know, is Akira is back. He's creating a brand new soundtrack for this game. We're not just reusing the original game's music.
The fans are going to be surprised when they get their hands on this game. I think there's a lot of ideas over what this game could be from reading the initial press coverage and seeing some of the briefings on the internet. But there's a level on which this is a Silent Hill game for the fans, in that if you come into this game with prior knowledge of the franchise and the characters and what happens, the stuff we've done and the way we've reimagined this is going to work on twice as many levels. If you bring that foreknowledge into the game. And I think as well, the fans have an understanding that maybe as a series it's become too niche in some of its elements. There are aspects of the game where a Silent Hill game can almost become a pastiche of the original Japanese games. This game is not in any way pandering to that. This is not a kind of a parody Team Silent game. We're sort of going back to the original sources, to David Lynch, to Hitchcock, and we're trying to make this game that's very fresh and new and true to those sources.
And at the heart of Silent Hill is, of course, the psychological horror element. This isn't about dogs jumping through windows to frighten you. It's about that sense of dread. And the one school of survival horror is really branched off and focused on action. So it's less like I'm playing a scary game that's getting inside my head, and it's more like I'm playing an action game with zombies instead of demons. Right? So we've gotten back to that survival horror element, and we really want to focus on survival. What is survival? And instead of giving you a gun, we stick you in this nightmare environment where you're defenseless and you have to use your wits and any tools you have available to you, like your cell phone, to outsmart and get through it. Silent Hill Shattered Memories is coming out for Wii, PSP, and PS2, and it's going to be released later in 2009.